Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. It's Sunday, May the 31st, time for another edition of my NFL regular season win total series. This is part 16 of a 32-part series in which I cover every NFL team, look at their regular season win totals odds, and then make a prediction at the end of each one of these videos. Today, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens went 14-2 a season ago, best record in the AFC. They were the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl going into the postseason, and then they go and get upset at home in the divisional round against the Tennessee Titans, despite the fact they outgained them by over 200 yards in that game. So they're going to have a sour taste in their mouth going into this season, and a lot to accomplish in regards to how last year finished. So I'm sure they want a better ending, and they're trying to do so. They certainly are stacked on both sides of the ball. But let's start with their draft. This recent 2020 draft, I think Baltimore might have had the best draft in all the NFL, in my opinion, if not one of the best. And is there a year that goes by where Baltimore doesn't have a good draft? Going back to the Ozzie Newsome era and into this new regime, Baltimore just drafts very well, and it's easy to see why they've been one of the more consistent winning teams in the NFL over the last decade or so. This year, two linebackers out of that draft quite possibly are going to be starters. Number one, draft choice Patrick Queen out of LSU, and then also linebacker Malik Harrison out of Ohio State, who was chosen in the third round. And then they go and they trade for Calais Campbell, the veteran defensive tackle, one of the better defensive tackles in all the NFL. And once again, it's going to be a formidable defense. Now, if you look at last season, they were number 4 in total yards allowed. However, there's a bit of an asterisk there. I'm not trying to take anything away from how good this Ravens defense was a season ago, but you must account for the fact they were only on the field 25 minutes and 30 seconds per game. They were beneficiaries of their offense having the top running attack in all of football and really putting together some sustained drives. They dominated in time of possession. You want to know how good they were in terms of time of possession? Well, I mentioned Baltimore was on the field for just 25 minutes and 30 seconds per game defensively. The next best team in the NFL was the Philadelphia Eagles in that regard, and they were on the field, their defense, I should say, an average of 1:42 more a game than Baltimore. That's how dominant they were in that regard. Speaking of their offense, Lamar Jackson, what a year he had last year, the MVP, and rightfully so. 43 touchdowns between his arm and his legs. Over 1,200 yards rushing, which was the most rushing yards ever by an NFL quarterback. Running backs are stacked. Mark Ingram returns after a 1,000-yard year, scored 10 touchdowns rushing. Backup George Edwards is back. He ran for over 700 yards a season ago. And then they drafted a stud in the second round and running back J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State, who many had pegged as their potential first round pick, I should say. So needless to say, that Baltimore rushing attack is going to be pretty sound again this year, if not dominant. And your offensive line pretty much stays intact. Did a terrific job last year. Only allowed 28 sacks all season long. Of course, they had one of the more mobile quarterbacks in football, Lamar Jackson. Again, not trying to make light of things, but that is a very good run blocking offensive line at the very least. Their tight ends are going to be really good. Mark Andrews coming off a terrific year in which he led the Ravens in receptions with 64, over 850 yards of receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. He's backed up by the backup Boyle, who had 31 catches for over 300 yards a season ago. And he also scored 2 touchdowns. Very good blocking tight end. That's Nick Boyle, by the way. The wide receivers, I'm not crazy about. Hollywood Henderson or Hollywood Brown, Hollywood Henderson, the former Dallas Cowboy. Showing my age there. Marquise Hollywood Brown caught 46 balls as a rookie a season ago, scored 10 touchdowns, so showing some big play capability. Not a lot of catches by NFL standards for a starting wide receiver, but again, keep in mind he was just a rookie. And second on the depth chart, it looks like Miles Boykin, who only had 21 catches a season ago. Not a lot of proven talent at wide receiver for Baltimore. So unless some of these wide receivers step up in a big way, they're going to have to get it done with the running game and their use of their tight ends once again. Their kicking game, very good. You're looking at the place kicker, Tucker, one of the most accurate in NFL history, and then Sam Cock, the punter, one of the best in that regard. And we all know John Harbaugh, or at least if you're an NFL fan, you know John Harbaugh, head coach of the Ravens, made his reputation as a special teams coordinator. He assumes that role on top of his head coaching responsibilities in Baltimore. And as a result, the Ravens have been perennially one of the best coverage kick teams in all the NFL as well on an annual basis. Now, here's the thing, folks. Their over and under win total is 11.5. To go over or under, it comes at money line odds of -115, if that matters. My point being, they won 14 games a season ago. When you look at their strength of schedule this year, Baltimore, when using the calculation of what their opponents for 2020, 2021 are, and you use the cumulative records of those teams they're going to be facing, the Baltimore Ravens are playing the easiest schedule in the NFL by those standards. Yet, after winning 14 games, the regular season total 11.5, that raises a red flag to me. Now, I know, it's kind of hard to put 12.5 or 13 as a regular season win total in the NFL, no matter how good a team is or how many times they've repeated, which doesn't happen too often. But anyway, having said all that, I really like them to go under the total of 11.5 wins this year. I just think that Pittsburgh is going to be much better with Ben Roethlisberger, assuming he stays healthy all year long. And the Cleveland Browns, who if you've watched my videos or read my articles over at OSGA, you know that I like the Browns as a sleeper to win the NFC North. I just have this eerie feeling Baltimore is not going to be as dominant as they were a season ago. It'd be hard to top what they did a season ago during the regular season. I think they're going to be more primed for playoff action. I think this is a 10 or 11 win team. And as a result, I'm going to take a small chance here on going under 11.5 wins at moneyline odds of -115 on the Baltimore Ravens. Until the next time, God bless, folks. Stay safe, be responsible, and take care.